okay? Okay. Hello, beautiful Golden Acre quilting community. We apologize for the little bit of a bumpy start there. Aunt Ellen is running the cameras for the first time tonight. We have no Izzy, we have no Chris. We've got Aunt Ellen over here doing the cameras, and we've got Darren over there doing comments and Wheel of Names with a whole new tech crew. I am Louisa Grindle. I own Golden Acre Quilting along with my husband, Darren Grindle, located here in Claremont, New Hampshire. We are just having so much fun. And we're going to roll with whatever bumps happen tonight as we are on this learning curve of tech. And we're going to have fun no matter what happens. So we hope you're all having a wonderful week. It feels like fall is finally here. We've seen some beautiful colors out there. And I said to Darren the other day, you know, like in less than a month, this rain is going to be snow. Oh, he had a moment. But thank you so much for joining us, whether you're joining us live or joining us later on to watch afterwards. It all helps us build our channel, build our presence, and share what it means to be Golden Acre Quilting with the bigger world out there. Please remember you've got a free way to support us and our growing channel by liking our videos, subscribing to our channel, and sharing our content with people you think might enjoy what we do here. We always have a question every week that we ask and give you the opportunity to answer in the chat. By answering that question in the chat, you earn a chance in the Wheel of Names drawing we do at the end of the broadcast to win the sample that we sew on tonight's show. And tonight's question is, what projects have you enjoyed doing or have you explored doing with panels that have blocks in them? So we're looking for some inspiration about those panels that have individual blocks in them. And according to Peppa, we've already got some responses in the chat going and some really cool ideas that people have shared. So keep that going, keep answering those questions. And when you do, you'll earn a chance to win our sample for tonight. The All New England Shop Hop is still in full swing. I sent out the newsletter on Sunday, which was a miracle in and of itself. I'm usually sending it out on Tuesday afternoon in a whirlwind. But this week I got a little bit ahead, and that felt really good. And when I sent the newsletter out, we were only 6 shoppers away from hitting 500. So I thought we were going to hit 500, but we still have 2 stickers left before we hit 500 shop hoppers. So our next 2 shop hoppers tomorrow morning will be our 499th and 500th shop hopper. It's been amazing to meet new friends and have that intertwine with the people who've known and loved the Golden Acre community for the last year. Speaking of the last year, October 11th, last Friday, was a year. We have been here for a year, Darren and I, and all of the amazing people who make it possible for us to be here. We're going to have a big celebration in January for when we changed the name to Golden Acre Quilting. But we wanted to acknowledge the fact that it has, in fact, been a year that we've been here. We continue to have... Yep, I'm pausing. Oh, no, it won't ever catch up. Oh, okay. No, it won't ever catch up. What's going on back there will look different than what they're seeing out there. So that's just part of what happens. Okay. Tell me when it turned red. Oh, it turned red. Yeah. Oh, dear. But okay. All right. Well, hopefully that little bit of discussion caught us up. So we still have turtles hidden around the shop for the All New England Shop Hop and a goodie basket for people to pick from if they find a turtle hidden around the shop. We still have bolts hidden in anchors. If we unroll it to cut your fabric and an anchor comes out, 10% off that cut of fabric. We have an extra shop-only prize drawing for you to enter if when you get your Shop Hop block, there's a turtle or an anchor in the bag. And we have some extra goodies in the bags for you as well. New Zealand is still our farthest shop hopper, so I don't know that we're going to beat that in the last 2 weeks of the hop. We'll see. But we've been keeping track when people come in and asking where they're hopping from, and New Zealand is still the farthest. What else? Oh, we've got some new fabrics, and Geneva did an awesome job of displaying all of this, and I'm going to take it apart to come show you. So we got this new line of fabric, which is called Sun and Moon. And these are the 6 bolt fabrics. with the sun and the moon. It reminded me of tapestries and folk festivals and farmers markets that I've been to over the years in my life. And I loved the deep colors in it, and I'm hoping that others will enjoy it as well. Um, and this line also has a panel, not a block panel, but a panel. So this is the panel, the sun that's behind me here with the moon and the flowers. And then there is a border print that's designed to go with these. And a little preview for next week's question. We're going to ask next week, what do you do with border prints that you find wonderful? Do you make aprons? Do you make tote bags, placemats, border quilts? What fun things have you done with border stripe fabrics? That'll be next week's question to enter, so you can start doing some research and have things to answer. So that's the moon and sun fabric. And oh, we haven't told the golden anchor story on YouTube for a while, have we? I'll introduce these blenders that we got in. So these are some blue blenders that are on our color wall, tone on tones, a little bit of pattern, great for mixing into your quilts. Just some beautiful blue hues that came in this week. So the golden anchor story, we are golden anchor quilting because we went looking for a name for a quilt shop. We found Rockin' Bobbins, Quilty Pleasures. We found so many others that we thought were fun plays on words and, sort of had a quilting theme to them. But in all of that name searching, I kept coming back to this being a dream of mine for so long. I've been a crafter longer than I can remember. And I would always go into craft stores like this, a bead shop, a yarn store, a cross stitch store, and touch and say, someday I'm going to do this. Someday I'm going to spend my time and energy building a creative community and making beautiful things with people and helping people make beautiful things themselves. And my dream is something that my mom always told me to put on a magical golden anchor attached to an unbreakable golden thread and throw it into the future and know that I'd get there someday. And we kept coming back to that. And there were no other quilt shops named Golden Anchor Quilting, and the website was available, and it seemed like it just kind of all aligned for us. So that's why we became Golden Anchor Quilting. The logo with the turtle and the anchor came because my mom drew the anchor the way she had always thought of it in her head. And then I handed that drawing to my daughter, Izzy, and said, make a logo. I have too many things going on. And Izzy knows that I've always loved turtles. And so she thought turtles are nautical and ocean, and anchors are ocean. And she put the anchor on a turtle's back and drew a turtle with an anchor. And that became our first version of our logo. And then a lot of people kept asking why the flower petals were droopy, which made me sad because it was the turtle's flippers, not flower petals at all. So when we had Chris come in as a graphic designer, he made the turtle more distinctly a turtle. And that's why turtles are hidden in the shop and anchors are hidden in the bolts, and how our logo came to be. I am dreaming my dream. I'm living my dream. I get to do it with my best friend, my family, my community. It's incredible. It is such a happy thing. The other thing, as far as new fabrics and opportunities that have come in, if we can do it, we're going to switch to the overhead. We can do it. We can do it. So, woohoo! So does that mean I'm here now? All right. Okay, perfect. So this is Flower to the Sun. We got this line of fabric, this panel, this beautiful stained glass look, the flowers that go with it. We got this in, and I'm so thankful that we cut the kits when we first got the fabric in, because otherwise we wouldn't have been able to cut them. The fabric has been so popular. But these kits to make this quilt, which we have a sample of up in the shop if you want to come in and see it in person. And we have all of the focal fabrics and the panel kitted up, and then you get to choose what you want for a background fabric. There's so many colors you could pull. Our sample's made up with the navy, but you could pull purple, green, yellow, really any color. So we wanted to give people the chance to have the background of their choosing. And we have 4 of these kits. So these are all ready at the shop for you to come pick your background fabric and get going on that. And this is a panel with blocks That's one of the blocks in the panel. So, if someone's looking for an answer to the question this week, you could say the Flower to the Sun kit. And we still have our Sassy Sunflower Half Pack Quilts program. We're so thrilled with that program. It's 5 half-yard cuts of fabric that we curate from fabric in our shop. You get to pick a bundle of fabric and a pattern. There's 9 quilt patterns and a tote bag, which we're going to talk about in a minute with classes. And you get to pick a bundle and a pattern for $37.99. So this week, we made up 4 new bundles with the 4 seasons from the All New England Shop Hop fabric. We finally got to it. So we have a summer pack, a spring pack, a winter pack, and an autumn pack. Can you see all 4 of those? Awesome. So we've cut packs of all of these for you to come and choose a Sassy Sunflower Half Pack Quilts pattern and make up one of the quilts. They work up so fast. They're beginner friendly. They're beautiful. They're a good size 50 by 60 to 55 by 65. And if you're struggling with fabric placement, Sassy Sunflower has a half pack quilts gallery on their website that will show you how fabric placement changes how the quilt looks. We use one of these quilts for our beginner class, which, speaking of which, we have one coming up starting October 30th. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. So these are the 4 new Sassy Sunflower bundles in the shop this week. And I think we can stay there maybe while we talk about classes and put things on here, the samples on here. Okay, so we have Open Sew coming up on Thursday this week, 10 to 5. You can come and sew whatever you'd like to sew on Open Sews. And then on Friday of this week, we are going to make the Tippy Tote from the Sassy Sunflower Quilts program. And this is the sample that I made up last week. I mentioned that I don't like floppy bags. I like my bag to kind of stand up and let me get in there. So I used foam to quilt this one, and it gives it more body and it stands up, and it's got nice long straps that you can make a crossbody or carry over your shoulder. And this is from the Cypress pack that we showed you last week as one of the new bundles that was in the shop. This beautiful orange and blue and yellow, just yummy, yummy. And it has a pocket on the front and the pieced backing, and it's lined, and lots of skills we're going to learn in that class, as well as just having fun. So the Tippy Tote class is running this Friday, the 18th, as well as Friday, November 8th, and Saturday, November 9th. So if you want to get registered in any of those, come pick your Sassy Sunflower bundle. We're going to have a lot of fun with that one. And the Great Stocking class is this Saturday. I don't know what I can do to give people a really good idea of the scale of this stocking. I know. Wear it as a hat. I don't know. But this is the Great Stocking class today. We got the templates ready for that. So the templates are ready to go. We're going to get the instructions all ready for Saturday's class. There are 4 people registered, so there are still 2 spots open. So if you've got time on Saturday and want to make a stocking, this could be used as decor, or you can fill it, or you can stuff the bottom with paper and only fill the top. It's just a super fun, beautiful stocking. And it takes 1 5/8 yards of main fabric and 1 yard of the coordinate, and Lynn Grinsell is teaching that for us. It's her debut teaching with us, and I'm really excited because she's made so many of them. She's got all the tips and tricks. It's going to be wonderful. And all-inclusive Learn to Quilt. I don't have anything to show here, so why don't we go back over to this one if we can. Wonderful. Aunt Ellen is doing a fabulous job with the camera. How's Wheel of Names going out there, Papa? Good, good. He's keeping up with Wheel of Names. So, all-inclusive Learn to Quilt is our version of beginner quilting. We call it all-inclusive because we start with this is your sewing machine and how to troubleshoot your sewing machine and how to sew a consistent 1/4 inch. And we do rotary.
What is a bobbin?
What is a bobbin? Yes, what's a bobbin? That's a question we had in the class once. What's a foot pedal? That was another question. So we answer all the questions. We also do fabric theory, color selection, pattern selection. How do you know where to put the big patterns versus the small patterns? And then we make the picnic basket quilt from the Sassy Sunflower Half Pack Quilts program. And then Darren gets them long-armed. And then we come back in that last week and trim the quilt and bind the quilt, and you leave with a completed quilt. So the series is soup to nuts, the whole thing, all of the skills you need from start to finish to make a quilt. And it's also called all-inclusive because you don't have to get anything additional to test it all out. You can use our classroom sewing machines. We have classroom thread. We have rotary cutters, rulers, seam rippers, all of the tools that you'll need to get started in the process of quilting. We're going to run this one on Wednesdays from 1:30 to 4:30. And the class will be finished on December 18th. So it'll be done in time for either gifting that quilt for the holidays or holding it on for yourself for the holidays. But if you know someone who's been thinking about learning how to quilt, this is a fabulous series to get them enrolled in. And if they have someone they want to come take the class with, we have a 10% off buddy coupon to offer them to make it even more affordable to get started. We also have a t-shirt or memory fabric quilting series coming up in November on Saturdays, the 2nd, the 9th, and the 16th. And during those 3 Saturdays, we'll learn how to prep the fabrics that aren't necessarily quilting cottons, and then we'll learn how to sash them and how to get them into a quilt top that is ready for quilting. We have our ornament swap on Saturday, December 7th. That's the one that we're going to cut registration off November 16th so that we have a known number of how many people are coming. Everybody who's coming makes an ornament for everybody else who's coming. So if there are 12 people enrolled, you each make 12 of your ornament, and you bring it in with you, and you leave with 11 ornaments from the other people and 1 of your own. Nice variety of handmade ornaments that you can hold on to put on your own tree, or that you can gift during the rest of the holiday season. So that's our ornament swap. And I just put up another class today that I forgot to put on my notes, which is a small, scrappy flying geese quilt that we're going to do. It's a doll quilt, actually. It's only going to finish at about 16 to 20 inches square, but we're going to work on flying geese in that, which is another reason I chose flying geese for the tutorial tonight on YouTube. And that's going to run the first 3 Sundays in November. We had a group specifically ask for that one, and I gave them the heads up first so that they could register. So it might fill up fast. But Aunt Ellen's raising her hand too. We'll run it again if it fills up. That's what we love to do here. And this is not going to be a class, but Aunt Ellen and I were looking at panels again and trying to figure out how to inspire people to use panels that we have here. And we have this wonderful little Lal the Lamb Dresden panel. And Aunt Ellen found a pattern to use 2 of the panels. How am I doing for visual? 2 of the panels, the one in the center stays whole, the other one gets cut into quarters and put out into the corner. Makes a really sweet, really cute crib quilt that I just made up in about 15 minutes. So Aunt Ellen found the pattern at about 4 p.m. and we dug around and printed it out and found the patterns, found the panels, did the cutting, did the stitching together, and we have the sample here to show you already. Super quick and fast. We've got this kitted up with 2 panels, the pattern printed out and ready for you. You would just need 3/8 of a yard for binding and 3 yards to back it, and you'd have a quilt to give to someone. And with some creative quilting, that background space could become really, really fun. So we wanted to share that one with you too. Any questions or comments that you guys have seen that I should pause and answer? We're doing all right? Do we need to remind people what the question of the week is? Are we doing good? Yeah. So the question of the week for your chance to win the sample that we're making on the show tonight is, what do you like to do with panels with blocks in them? Or what have you found that inspired you to maybe try working with panels with blocks? Just looking for, some inspiration on that front. That one's not a block one either. I've shown all kinds of non-block panels. Oh, panel blocks make great tote bag fronts. Yep, or project bags. I saw a really cute one where they made a trick-or-treat basket with the panels around the outside of the little trick-or-treat basket. Absolutely. So there's lots of fun things. We just wanted to toss some ideas around in the chat tonight about that. Heidi. Actually, that's Diane, I think. Yeah, we're having so much fun with the shop hop and all the new friends we're making. Oh, yes, Jean, you're right. So I don't think they can hear you from there, Papa. So what Jean said in the comments is that that's the size stocking that everyone wants someone to fill for them, and I completely agree. Ah, that's Chris. That's our Chris. Hello, Chris. All right, so I think we are ready to go over to our demo. So we can go back to overhead. I do. Aunt Ellen's doing such an awesome job. Can we give Aunt Ellen love in the chat? You're getting love? Okay, good. Awesome. Even Chris, aw, when the tech guy says you're doing great, right? So we have a few quilts on our brainstorm list, I'll say, that use flying geese. And we have so many people that come in and look at a quilt pattern and say, "Oops, there's flying geese. I'm not playing. I don't want to mess with that. That looks really complicated and scary." And they can be complicated and scary, but there are ways to make them easier and less complicated and less scary. And I went looking on the web and found a written tutorial, and she had great pictures and a great explanation. And I put a link to that tutorial in our video description so that if after you've watched the video you want the pictures to remember, and also she has a chart that tells you what size to cut the big square and the little squares to make all kinds of different sizes of flying geese. So between this video and her written tutorial, I think you're going to be in great shape to start making 4 at a time flying geese. So this is what I ended up with. Let me show you what we started with. We started with a width of fabric, that obviously some of this has been cut off, but a width of fabric, the width of the square that the chart told me to cut, which in the case of the flying geese we're working on here for the sample, was 9¼ inches. So we cut a width of fabric strip so we could cut multiple squares out of that for our bigger square. And then we also cut a width of fabric strip for the smaller square size that we were going to need, and then subcut those squares out of that. For this example, it was 4 7/8 inches. So for our example tonight, we're using a 9¼ inch bigger square and 4 7/8 inch squares. And then you take the big square. Hold on. All right. You take the big square and you lay 2 of the smaller squares in the corners that are opposite each other on the diagonal. Line them up really well. The fussier you are with this moment, the easier your trimming and squaring up will be at the end. And I'm not normally a pinner, but I did pin both of these smaller squares to this block. And then you're going to take a ruler. I'm not going to draw. I'm not cutting, but thank you. I'm just going to show that. I already drew the lines actually in prep. So from the top corner to the bottom corner where you've got those squares laid, you're going to draw a line at the 45-degree angle. And then 1/4 inch away from that line on either side are going to be your stitch lines. And your stitch lines are going to be that 1/4 inch away, but you're going to stitch just on the outside of those lines, like a thread width on the outside of those lines. And I don't know, is it going to work to go over to the sewing one? I know which button to push. Okay, we're going to try it. And if this blows up, we'll know it didn't work, right? We'll go right back to the other one. All right. So good job, extra good job, because we were worried about that one. I was going to tell you that wasn't available. Oh yeah, so Aunt Ellen was just going to say, nope, there's no sewing camera tonight, but it's okay. She figured it out. Okay, so I'm going to show you where that stitching comes out compared to that line, and we're just gonna So on that camera, I tried using a different thread color. Can you see that at all? Not really. Okay, I'll try holding it up in just a second. But you're going to stitch down both of those lines, all lined up, a thread width outside of that 1/4 inch line that you drew, because your thread has just ever so slightly a bit of bulk to it. And if you sew right on the line, when you flip it, you won't get the same measurements at the end of the activity. Let's see, I'll try holding it up to here. Is that, okay. So you see how the line is here and the stitching is just on the other side of it. And that's where you want to stitch so that when you flip this open after you cut it, you end up with the measurement that you're looking for. And you're going to sew down both of those 1/4 inch lines. And we can go back to the overhead. Did we do it? Woo-hoo! Aunt Ellen gets an extra piece of chocolate out of the Aunt Ellen bucket. All right, so when you do that, you stitch on both sides of that line. Then you're going to take your ruler and cut on that center line. And when you cut on the center line, you're going to end up with 2 pieces that look like this. So you've got your smaller squares, and you'll have the other half here that you've cut your square in half on that diagonal. And then those get pressed open. When you're pressing those open, press, don't iron. So when you're coming at it, you don't want to just, because you'll stretch the bias. You want to lay it here and just ever so slightly go over that edge and tuck it, and then do 1 press over the triangle. There's all kinds of bias in this moment that you can stretch out of alignment and really mess up your flying geese. So you want to press, not iron, when you're flipping those open. And then once you've flipped it open like this, you are ready to add a 3rd square here. And I used a directional fabric for my small squares. And at first I thought, what were you thinking, Louisa? A directional square when you're trying to do a tutorial on YouTube. Why would you do that? But then I realized it gave me the opportunity to show you how to check whether your direction is going to work. So I looked at this the first time and I saw my stripes were going this way. So I laid my stripes going the same way, thinking that when it went like this, it'd be perfect. And I was very, very wrong. So when it flips up like that, you see how these stripes are horizontal and these are vertical. So I learned that I had to flip that directional fabric the opposite way of the way it appears on the one that I've pressed out to get the directional fabric to end up the same on the other side of my flying geese. So there's a little extra tip on the directionality piece. And then with this square, you're going to line up, and you can get an extra assurance that you're on the right spot by using that 45-degree line on your ruler surface on the flat edge of your squares, and then line up the straight edge of your ruler with the tips of the little square you're trying to sew in. And then you're going to give yourself that marking like we did on the first square, and then again a 1/4 inch from that, and a 1/4 inch in this direction. Any questions or comments while I color? All right, okay. Oh, and then I forgot. This is the moment where I like to pin, because if it shifts, it messes up your flying geese. So we're going to pin and maybe pop back over to the sewing camera, since we know how to do that now. All right. Okay. And then again, we're just going to go just on the outside of that 1/4 inch line that we drew. So it's kind of like the line that you drew is running just beside your needle, not even a needle's width apart from it. And then again, on the other side, And with your needle just on the outside of that 1/4 inch line and straight across. Oh, the question of the week? Absolutely. The question of the week is, what is your favorite thing to do or thing that has inspired you to try working with panels with blocks? So some panels are scenic, like the ones that are here in the studio with me tonight, and other panels have blocks in them. We can go back to overhead. So like this panel has blocks built into it. It's not just one big scene. What do you do with these blocks? There's different size blocks that come in panels. Some are only 6 inches, like the birdhouses that we use for the Duffy quilt. These are bigger. These are 10, 10 and a half. There's also blocks in the All New England Shop Hop fabric panel this year. So what do we like to do with those panel blocks? So now we've got 2 lines sewn, and we're going to cut on that cutting line. And again, you can use that 45-degree line on your ruler to make sure that you're straight over here to your straight edge as you're lined up with that for cutting. Cut, check before you move your ruler. And then these are ready to go ahead and press open. And once you've pressed that open, you've got a flying goose. Woohoo! And then with your trim, when you're looking to trim up these flying geese to get them ready to go into a project, everybody asks, well, how do you make sure that the points are going to line up? And it's kind of counterintuitive, and that's why people's points end up not lining up. People look at this extra here and they think, oh, I've got to trim that right down. But you want to leave a 1/4 inch there so that your 1/4 inch seam will bring your next block right to the tip of that flying geese from the other block. So when you line it up for trimming, you want to make sure that you've got a 1/4 inch from that tip of the main triangle part of the flying goose before you trim off the extra, so that your 1/4 inch seam will tuck you right in to that point. And that is how you make 4 at a time flying geese. So much fun. There's a great visual tutorial on these on the blog that we put a link to in the description. So between this and that blog, and then calling and asking questions or coming in for an open sew, you're going to be a flying goose expert in no time. I think we can go back here because we've got to talk about the quilt of the week, right? Any questions or comments that we should check in about before we do quilt of the week? What's up? Oh, all right. Well, kaleidoscope quilting. Yeah, that is not a quick YouTube tutorial, but there are some really cool things that people do with panels with kaleidoscope quilting for sure. I'm going to step off camera for just a second, but I'm still here. I thought we had it right over here. We had an example of that. But next week, we'll show you the example we have of kaleidoscope quilting next week, because we had Lynn made an incredible, we've got all the pieces. We're just working on the layout for a kaleidoscope quilt with panels. That wasn't a block panel, it was a scenic panel, but very cool. Okay, quilt of the week. Here we are. We've got another one of our graduates from the all-inclusive Learn to Quilt series, and she is just doing an incredible job. I'll try to get this up over here. I don't have my footstool. But Darren picked this one because he really liked how the yellow thread really popped on the dark background and shows off the happy little bees quilted onto this pinwheel. And this is a layer cake that we still have here in the shop. So if the colors in the pinwheels are happy to you like they're happy to us, then you can come make one just like this. That's our quilt of the week. And we have our weekly drawing for folks who pay with cash or check when they're here in the shop. This person will have a $10 gift card waiting here for them at Golden Anchor. I'm not looking, I'm popping them around. Sandy G. Sandy G, I will call you and let you know that you have that gift card waiting here for you. Congratulations, and thank you to everybody who pays with cash or check to save us on those pesky credit card fees. We still take credit and debit cards because we know that that's how the world works, but we certainly appreciate it when folks pay with cash or check. So that's that part. And then Puppa, are we ready for Wheel of Names? All right. What do you got? He's spinning it. Aunt Ellen, any comments I should answer while he spins? No, I think did you want to talk about again where that video? Oh, the link is in the description for our video. Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Linda. Linda, E-S-E. And he's spelling it to me faster than I can process right now. So Linda, hop online and send your address and information to Louisa at goldenanchorquilting.com and let us know where we can send the 4 flying geese that might inspire you to do something. Placemat or quilt block. I won't stitch them together. I'll let you pick. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Remember to like our videos, subscribe to our channel, share our content with anybody you think might enjoy it. Aunt Ellen, are we just about ready to end the stream? Are you ready? All right, we're going to see what happens when we do this, but come see us at Golden Anchor Quilting, where community is the fabric of our dreams.